Hello everyone, back into today's video. Going to do weather for next week's 10 days. In today's video, this takes us up to around the 25th of September, so going towards the latter stages of the month. Had really hot weather, of course, over the past few days. Got one more hot day to go today, although we have had a lot of mist, fog and low cloud across the country this morning, which probably will limit temperature potential a little bit this afternoon. I don't think we'll be quite as hot as we have been over the past couple of afternoons, but even so, we're approaching 30 degrees in some places this afternoon. Then we've got risk of thunder coming up late this afternoon, or from late this afternoon, overnight tonight, and then into tomorrow. And there could be some big storms around in places. We updated Stormwatch last night. There has been a great deal of change on the idea from Stormwatch. I think I'll update Stormwatch again this evening, because it does look like quite a potent thundery breakdown. And because of the lateness of the year, this might be the last widespread spell of thunder that we get. So I think we'll do one more Stormwatch this evening. But once that's out of the way, thundery stuff will clear away tomorrow, and there'll be a cooler air mass. After that, the next week to 10 days, we'll see what's going on in a second. Quite a bit of uncertainty as we go through to next week. Before we get on with that, though, just say about the ads. There's links to articles on all the pages. Have a browse widgets, click through the links if there's any articles that you're interested in. Thanks very much for doing that. If you add to most pages, which open up content, you watch my close back up again, it does help to pay for gaswellbees.com. Just start off with the facts chart from the UK Met Office. This is for 6 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. This is the human interpretation of the models by forecasters at the UK Met Office. We've still got two cold fronts, two price of one, coming across the country tonight and tomorrow. As the name implies, the cold fronts will be introducing cooler and fresher air off the Atlantic, but also because it's coming into quite hot and humid air, very hot and humid air time of year, there will be risk of those thunderstorms that I spoke about a few minutes ago. We go through to midnight on Saturday, and we see it's a very slow process to clear these fronts away from the East Coast, actually, so it does imply could be a lot of rain down the East Coast tomorrow. Even up to midnight on Saturday, we've still got the front very, very close, occluding out as well, very close to the East Coast. Probably by then not producing thunder, but it could be producing showers or longer spells of rain. Following behind, we've got this little bump of high pressure, and that's within a much cooler, fresher air mass, so we'll be feeling a lot more comfortable by the time we get through to the end of Friday and into Friday night. The heat wave really has been quite incredible, though. So this is for central England temperature, provisional up to the 14th. Currently standing at 17.4, really high temperature there for the CT, an anomaly of 3.3 degrees above average. It's on a par with, that would be really hot, and on a par with some of our hottest summer months that we get in this country. It can get hotter than that, of course, in summer with central temperatures of 18, 19, 20 degrees. But 17.4 is a pretty high anomaly, especially for September. That might be about as high as it gets. I think this could very gradually start to edge down. Obviously it's going to be significantly warmer than average month, but I don't think we'll stay in the 17s. I think we'll move back down to 16s over next week. The record is 16.8, so if we beat 16.8, then we'll have a warmest September on record. I'm not sure we'll be able to do that, but it might be surprisingly close. We'll have to wait and see how things pan out. Let's have a look at the 500 millimeter height anomalies then for next week to 10 days. This is going to take us up to the 25th of September. We've got the E70F here on the top, the GFS is on the bottom, 500 millimeters, 80,000 feet is an area in the atmosphere with high pressure, low pressure being moved around by the jet stream running above. Blue extrapolates to low pressure, and orange, red, bright colours extrapolates to high pressure. So the E70F has this trough of low pressure in the Atlantic as we go through to the last stages of next week. A ridge through the UK and going up towards Scandinavia, and the jet stream doing something like that. Now, that's not far away from what we've had over recent days, actually. It's given us a heat wave. The difference is that the upper air temperatures, the air associated with that ridge, is quite a lot cooler. So it would be, I think, be sort of near normal temperatures with that, and not excessively hot, albeit still a lot of dry weather. could be one of the main features to go through into the second half of September, although the temperatures edge back towards seasonal averages. We could still continue to have quite a lot of high pressure and dry conditions down in the south. However, the GFS is very different to that. This is the GFS on the bottom, and we've got the ridge down across the Bay of Biscay, but we've also got quite a deep trough to the north. Low pressure is running to the north. The jet stream is strengthening as well. It's bringing jet stream right through the country. So that's a lot more unsettled as we're going through into the 8 to 10 day time frame, latter stages of next week. And it's Atlantic driven weather with that as well. Probably wet and windy up in the north. The south could still just about be clinging on to drier weather, but it is a lot more unsettled compared to the ECWF. Now, these are the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles next 2 weeks. The red line here is a 30-year temperature average. So we're still very, very significantly above average right now, those upper air temperatures. But you see the trend is very much downhill all the way. By the time you get through to the weekend, Saturday, we're actually on a little bit cooler than average in terms of the upper air temperatures. Down on the surfaces, it will just mean temperatures going back towards average. Then a little bit of a lift in temperature on Sunday. That's associated with an area of low pressure. Won't be excessively hot, but maybe going up sort of 20, 21 degrees, something like that. And then after that, just hovering very close to the 30-year average, really. No sign of a definitive warm-up. There are a few quite hot outlier members, but equally there's a few quite cold outlier members as we're going through into latter stages. Sorry, put your teeth in. Latter stages of next week. So the actual trend line is very close to average, but you see there is quite a lot of uncertainty there as we're going into next week. You wouldn't say there's you'd be very confident of an outcome on either side, really, as we go through into next week. And obviously, if we do lift those temperatures back into hot categories one last time before the end of September, we could well then be looking at the hottest September on record. That's what we need to do, I think, to achieve the hottest September on record, have one last heat wave. There's nothing definitive to say we'll get that, so we'll just wait and see how that one pans out. Precipitation, well, we've got rainfall coming up with these thunderstorms over the next 24 hours as it cools down. So there could be some heavy rain coming through. We'll look at that on Storm Watch this evening. Then fairly dry into the weekend down in the south. It will have some rain up in the north next weekend. Then after that, into next week, there are precipitation spikes coming through. And overall, I think the ensemble looks like it's turning more unsettled, really, later on next week. That's the way the GFS is trending, I think. Temperature anomalies for next week, going from the 15th through 23rd of September, still a little bit above average. That encompasses today's excessive warmth, of course. Again, I think we'll see these charts cooling over the next 2 or 3 days. France actually going a bit cooler than average in the coming week. The precipitation on show a north-south split, so Scotland and Northern Ireland a little bit wetter than average, whereas England and Wales coming out a bit drier than average there. So the all-important generic chart, this is the GFS for Monday. We've got a little bump of high pressure off the Atlantic, but there is a weak weather front edging down across England and Wales, possibly producing a band of light rain on Monday. Go through into Tuesday, again, we've got a little bump of high pressure from the Azores, but it's cooler with this. Temperatures are close to average. A fair amount of dry weather, especially in the south. Through into the middle part of next week, we extend this ridge through the country. Again, it's not excessively hot with that, just near normal temperatures, but it does keep the dry weather going in the south. By Thursday, though, probably bring quite an active weather system into the north and west. That could produce a lot of heavy rain and quite strong winds too for Scotland and Northern Ireland. We saw it on the height anomaly flow charts, but it is more unsettled with the GFS late next week. That trough extends down across the country, could bring a lot of heavy rain with it at the end of next week. And the low pressure is still hanging around as we go through into the weekend of the 24th, 25th of September. Still close to the country, probably producing showers or longer spells of rain. We finish up on day 10, which is sunny 25th of September. Again, a little bit of a nose of high pressure building from the Atlantic. That low pressure, the trough, is still close to the south, producing rain there. Generally, the GFS is much more unsettled for next week and into that last weekend of September. we look at the ECMWF next, and we know from the height anomaly that it's going to be a lot more settled. So for Monday, again, bringing a weak weather front down across the country, that'll be producing a band of patchy rain, not amounting to too much. Fair amount of dry weather on Tuesday. Low pressure comes in off the Atlantic on Wednesday, so it's more unsettled for Wednesday, the ECMWF, with showers or longer spells of rain. And then to the end of next week, it starts to change from what the GFS is doing, starts to build up a little bit of a ridge across the country. So by the time we go through to the weekend of 24th, 25th of September, high pressure is in control in the south, but low pressure is still coming into the north. The GFS is much more unsettled at this point. I think this could be a bit overdone. I would tend to go more, despite the fact I had a very anti-cyclonic September, I've got a feeling the GFS might be right on this. I've looked at the ECM ensembles. In fact, I can show you the ensemble mean chart from the ECMWF model for day 10, so the 25th of September. And you see it isn't as strong. The ensemble mean is not as strong with that ridge to the south. And it's got a deeper low pressure to the north compared to this chart, which is sort of the operational run of the ECMWF. So I've got a feeling at the end of this morning's ECM run, it is going a bit over the top with this ridge that it's trying to build up from the south. In any case, it's not excessively hot with that. Temperatures are close to average. And finally, having a look at the GM, well, that's much more unsettled, as it often is with the Canadian model. Really deep area of low pressure out to the west of the country on Thursday, bringing gales to the north and west. And it turns very unsettled. Look at this through that last weekend of September. That's over the top, I think. The GM is always a bit over the top. I'd go with the GFS, I think, this morning. I think the ECM is a bit too strong with that ridge it's building up to the south. I think the GM is over the top with the unsettled signature. So what I think we're looking at next week, though there is uncertainty, obviously, but what I think we look at is showery start to the week, then perhaps a bit drier midweek, and then maybe moving to more unsettled conditions at the end of next week into the last weekend of September. I'm not seeing anything excessively hot coming up for the next week. So once today's heat is out of the way, breaking down to thunderstorms, I think temperatures will be closer to average. Because we've had such an exceptional September, it doesn't rule out the chance of bringing up some more heat. And that could be even into October, actually, because of the strange pattern we've got this autumn. But at this stage, not seeing much sign or much evidence of that taking place. But as ever, I'll keep monitoring and I'll keep you posted. That's what I'm doing the next week to 10 days. Come back later on for what might be, you never know, it might be the last storm watch of the summer and the autumn. So come back for that later on. Right, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.